Hi, my name is Parker Brailsford. You're watching Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR.
The mix of salty sea air and burnt rubber. The big skies, high banks, and grandstands. The rumble in your chest. That's what we love about the Daytona 500. Honoring history and making it. At the biggest race of the year on the biggest stage of a lifetime. That's what we love about the Daytona 500. You gotta see it to believe it. Secure your experience now at Daytona500.com.
Roll Tide and welcome to this Tuesday edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. This is Roger Hoover. Great to be with you on this Tuesday afternoon as we start looking ahead to Alabama football against LSU coming up on Saturday. Plus, we take a look back at basketball's successful opening night last night at Coleman Coliseum. I was fortunate to be on the call on SEC Plus for both the women's game and the men's game. As a result, have no voice left. It was so exciting at Coleman Coliseum last night, but we'll try to get through the show as we start with every show here on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, looking at our headlines. Thanks to our friends, RJ Young. RJ Young, the official technology solutions provider of Crimson Drive. Let's see what's coming up on the show this afternoon. We'll start with a conversation with Crimson Tide running back Daniel Hill. I'll talk about his go-ahead touchdown, late touchdown against Missouri a few weeks ago, plus getting on the field more this season. Then we'll visit with Chris Stewart to talk about Hey Coach coming up tomorrow night and Alabama football and basketball with Chris, and then take a look back to our Courtside cam highlights from Chris Stewart and Brian Passink in last night's debut for the Crimson Tide men's basketball team in their win against North Dakota. To our headlines with the Crimson Tide football team, of course, home this week against LSU. 6:30 will be the start time. 3:30, we will hit the airwaves on the Crimson Tide Sports Network, starting on the stage of the Bud Light backyard at Vector Security Champions Lane. We'll talk more about Champions Lane coming up on Thursday's edition of the show. Alabama has really enjoyed a good run against LSU, winning 5 of the last 6 meetings against the Tigers, especially here in Tuscaloosa, playing very well recently against LSU. Hope to keep that rolling. Coming up later tonight on ESPN, we will get the first college football playoff rankings of the year. Crimson Tide currently ranked 4th in most polls right now in college football, so somewhere in the 4 to 3, maybe 5 range for Alabama expected tonight. We also learned the kickoff time for Oklahoma coming up next week in Tuscaloosa. That'll be a 2:30 start time at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. To the hardwood, and last night was opening night across all of college basketball and a winning start for men's and women's basketball here at the Capstone. First of all, Christy Curry and the women's team had to rally late but picked up the win 82-73 against Stetson. They will be at home once again coming up this Thursday night with a home matchup against McNeese State. Tip-off at 6. Our radio coverage will be at 5:45 across the network. For the men's basketball team, a win against North Dakota 91-62. Alabama executed really well. Some freshmen really got to step up and play with some injuries to Keaton Bristow as well as Aiden Holloway. Latrell Wrightsell did not play in that ball game, so the youngsters were impressive along with LeBaron Philon, a career-high 22 points for Philon as he starts his sophomore season, even though he feels like one of the true veterans of this team. Next up, it's going to be a tougher matchup, and what a historic venue as well. Madison Square Garden. It'll be Alabama against St. John's, 5th-ranked team in the country. Alabama currently ranked number 15, but St. John's, led by Rick Pitino, coming in at number 5, and that'll be an 11 a.m. Central start time. Our radio airtime will be 10 o'clock here on the network. Other athletics notes, the soccer team at 2025 SEC tournament underway in Pensacola, Florida, and got underway with a solid start for Alabama, a 2-0 victory on Sunday against South Carolina. Today, the Crimson Tide squaring off against Vanderbilt. We'll keep our eyes on that and have more information coming up on Thursday's show. Also, the volleyball team, they will be at Arkansas coming up tomorrow to continue their season as they get closer to their postseason as well. As we start the month of November, it was fun to catch up with Daniel Hill, who's had kind of a larger role for this Crimson Tide running back room as the season has gone along. He joins us to tell us about his late success against Missouri and everything that led him from Meridian, Mississippi to here in Tuscaloosa. Here's our conversation with Daniel Hill. Roll Tide and welcome back to Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Roger Hoover with you at the LLH Healthcare Advantage Studio at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Now we're pleased to be joined by Daniel Hill, Crimson Tide running back, who has played a huge role the last few weeks in Alabama's wins. Daniel, Roll Tide, how's everything been going for you and the team this year?
Roll Tide, everything been going good. Just working week by week, just getting things done, preparing each week to, go to the next opponent.
And we've seen some really good moments for you, as I mentioned, in an Alabama uniform this year. What can you tell us, first of all, about the offseason, some of the hard work you put in, making sure you're ready to go?
I've always been, dedicated to, putting the work in and becoming a better player. Our off-season program is, pretty tough. It's not, for the, normal athlete. So you gotta, put your mind in a different place to, go through the off-season, get that work done, and then, go through fall camp, get that work done, and then prepare for the season.
Do you enjoy the weight room?
Yeah, I do.
Get competitive with it?
Yeah.
That's definitely good. So you guys go into the season in the running back room with some adversity. Jam Miller goes down in preseason practice. Did that make you guys work even that much harder to get ready for your playing time?
Yeah, I mean, we've always been a hard-working group. Jam going down was just something else we had to overcome. You got to be a next man up mentality, and he went down. At first it was kind of rough, but everybody gets an opportunity to make a play, and that's what we're trying to do.
And you certainly got some of those opportunities. Specifically, you got opportunities late in the ball game against Missouri. Jam went down again, this time with concussion. What can you tell us about, first of all, when your number was called and how ready to go you were for those moments?
I've always tried to prepare myself for, opportunities, when they show up. Coach G has always told me, always be ready for, when your number's called. And, when the time came, I felt like I had to do something to make a play.
And you certainly did make some plays. What can you tell us, first of all, about that touchdown on fourth down?
It was surreal. I mean, honestly, like coming into college, I've always wanted a receiving touchdown. I don't know why. It's just something that I've always wanted. But it was fourth down. I feel like, I was wide open. So I had to make the catch. But, yeah, it was a surreal moment.
Pretty good celebration with the teammates. And then I imagine once the game's over, you get that win. Hearing from everybody back home, all your friends and family, had to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I really don't pay attention to that because, I haven't done much, but, I do like feeling the love from the family, though.
That's always good. So we see you late in the ball game against Mizzou. Similar story, Tennessee, South Carolina the last few weeks as well. Do you like being able to come in the game in the second half specifically when maybe the defense is a little bit more worn down, but you're just ready to go get some tough yards?
Whenever I'm, called into the game, that's when I'm called into the game. If it's first quarter, second quarter, third, it's whatever. But whenever they call me into the game, I feel like I'm going to be ready, be prepared.
How have you seen this offensive line get better throughout the year?
They're working constantly every week. They're always working. We're always trying to find a little small details to get better at. And I love my O-line. I love them. I love each and every one of them. So we're just going to continue to keep working.
That's a hard-working group, as you mentioned. How about your quarterback, Ty Simpson? What kind of leadership he giving you guys now?
That's my guy. I love Ty Simpson, man. He's a great leader. He's hard-working, coming every day, focused, trying to get the offense better, doing everything he can to, help us continue to succeed.
And he's always, when he's like in a setting like this, he's pretty cool, he's pretty calm and all that stuff. But you guys get to see him behind closed doors, some players-only meetings. Does he get after a little bit?
Yeah, he does. And as a leader, as a quarterback, you have to be that type of person. In public, you got to be a little calm, chill. But as QB1, you always have to, have a different side to you.
That's pretty cool. And how about this team playing better on the road? Especially, we know what happened week 1 against Florida State in some ball games last year, but you've gone to some tough places to play in the last few weeks and gotten the win.
Just a mindset thing. Florida State first week was, it didn't go the way we wanted, but ever since then, we had to shift our mindset. We had to do some things differently and, come in each and every week, be ready to play.
You excited to be home for the next 3 weeks?
Yeah.
We can't wait to have this place rocking, ready for a good celebration. For you, you're from just over the border, Meridian, Mississippi. Tell us about how you grew up and starting to love playing football.
Grew up in Meridian, Mississippi. Been there my whole life. Love my city. Love everything they do for me. I always try to, get back to the city, do everything I can to, make the kids in my city feel, loved and welcome. I feel like I had a pretty good growing up. Dad played football. Mom, human resources. Been great. Nothing too crazy.
Where'd your dad play?
Mississippi State.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did he push you into football pretty quick then?
Kind of, sort of. At first, I wanted to play football at first, but he didn't let me, which was crazy. I cried, but eventually he came around and he let me play.
He let you play, and you started to have some success in high school. What was the recruiting process like for you?
It was pretty different, I say. I got my first offer in 8th grade from LSU. And ever since then, it was going good. I broke my leg in 9th grade. And then the next year, I broke my other leg. And it kind of slowed down a little bit. But 11th, 12th grade, picked back up a little bit. And I'm here.
You are. How tough was that to go through? I mean, those 2 years not getting to play while all your friends are playing, getting more recruiting attention. How tough was that?
Ninth grade it was new to me because I never went through anything like that before. I never really had an injury like that. And 10th grade it was kind of rough because I just went through the same thing, and I did get a little down on myself. But that's when I really started to give my life to God and just continue to trust in Him and things He has for me. And He got me to this point. I'm gonna continue to keep doing whatever I can to for Him.
You worked hard to get back on the field, put up some really good numbers for Meridian, and then Alabama eventually calls. What was it like being recruited by this program?
Surreal. When I got my offer from Alabama, sitting with Nick Saban, it was crazy. Cause I mean I've always been like a fan of Alabama. I never really seen myself playing for Alabama, but I've always been a fan just seeing Nick Saban, seeing the championships, everything like that. So when I got the offer from Alabama, it was crazy. I didn't know what to say. Like he told me I had the offer, I just sat there. I didn't know.
That's pretty cool. Was that in his office? Or?
Yeah, it was in his office.
I mean, just first of all, how cool is it to go in that place? You've probably seen it on TV. You've seen him on TV a bunch.
Yeah.
Getting to meet him must have been incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I've been coming up here for a while. I've been coming up here since like third grade. My dad been bringing players up here, recruits and everything. And just being around him, being around his injuries, seeing the way he coaches, it was just something that, I wanted to be a part of. But again, like I said, I never seen myself really playing for Alabama. I've always been a fan. But when I got the offer from here, I felt like me and my dad really knew like this was a place like for me.
That's outstanding. Certainly glad you chose Alabama. And then some things change while you were here as well. Coach Saban retires. Coach DeBoer comes in, even an offensive coordinator change going into this season. Just how did that kind of change your mindset, or how did you see the offense kind of getting a little bit different than what you originally signed for?
It was crazy because Coach Saban left the day after I moved in. And honestly, I didn't know what to do at the time, but I talked to my parents, and we really just said, you're here now. This is somewhere that you wanted to be at, no matter the coach. So I decided to stay, and I built a good relationship with Coach DeBoer since he's been here, and everything's been smooth since then.
That's really good. And obviously Ryan Grubb takes over the offense. What do you like about the role of the running back in an offense like this?
Being able to catch the ball out the backfield. That's something I've always liked to do, catch the ball out the backfield, be able to make plays in open space. Yeah,
especially be kind of a dynamic, versatile two-way player. Is that something that really interests you even at the next level in the NFL? Because some of those guys are now becoming the biggest stars in the game.
Yeah, like players like Bijan, Chris McCaffrey. I've always, looked at players like that. Some I want to play like them, and just being able to, make plays in different ways.
You're certainly doing that for Alabama this year. What's your focus been like in the classroom? What do you like to do kind of outside of football?
Outside of football, I just like to hang with the guys, just be around them, laugh, play the game, things like that.
That's awesome. Well, what should our fans look forward to as we get ready to start November?
We're going to continue as a team to get better, do everything for the fans, and we're always going to put on a show.
We always like a show. Well, Daniel Hill, you've provided some great moments for Alabama this season. Just thank you for your time. Roll Tide.
Yes, sir. Roll Tide.
Appreciate the time of Daniel Hill, and Chris Stewart has been saying his name more and more over the last few weeks as he joins us on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, like he does each and every Tuesday, to talk Alabama football, preview Hey Coach, plus some thoughts on basketball as well, as the season started last night at Coleman Coliseum. Here's our conversation with Chris Stewart. As we have some football to talk about, we have some basketball to talk about as well. Chris Stewart, happy November. Welcome back. Roll Tide.
Thank you. I'm working out my new NIL deal with either Uber or Lyft. I haven't decided which one I'm going to go with yet, but driving through, and appreciate you working with me, buddy. How's everything?
Everything's good. And again, you're so busy now with both sports starting to overlap. You've got to be on the move for a conversation like this.
You're the last person that I will say anything about being busy to, considering you were on the air more than Jerry Lewis yesterday. It was a lengthy day for you, but hey, we love it. It was fun to see the men's and women's teams get started, and great to have success right here as football is rolling right along as well.
Yeah, let's stick with basketball for just a second. Again, the debut of Nate Oates and the Crimson Tide last night. What impressed you most in what you saw from this group that maybe was a little bit shorthanded going into the game, but man, this freshman class along with the returners, fun to watch.
Well, the returners, but the fact that the returners don't include Mark Sears or Grant Nelson, and yet you still look like Alabama under Nate Oates. That the thing is one of the things to me that you just, I'm not going to say you don't skip a beat because that's not accurate. That's not fair, but um, they look extremely talented despite potentially three starters being out of that game last night. The three freshmen that we know are going to have to play a lot of minutes did so and looked really good. Amari Allen with a really solid stat line and the great hustle that we're accustomed to from Nate Oates' teams. Going to find him a lot of opportunities playing at that level. So, again, special to see him get that kind of start. And yeah, it was North Dakota, but up there last year, it didn't go as smoothly as it did last night. So thankful that they were able to execute at a high level in front of a good, enthusiastic crowd and got to 1-0 before they head to the Big Apple.
Yeah, we're excited about everything coming up for Alabama, especially that game next week against Purdue coming up here in Tuscaloosa. But Chris, it's still football season. This Crimson Tide football team, again, an open date this past week, but 7 wins in a row. Just what's your feeling on Kalen DeBoer and this group as they get ready for LSU?
Yeah, and literally one of the reasons, transit, I just came from practice and having a chance to see them work a little bit there. You can tell they're excited that it's game week. It's nice that it's going to be at home, even though Baton Rouge has been really kind to Alabama over the past several decades. But it is still better to be Saban Field and Bryant-Denny Stadium for that game, and excited to see this team play at the level, or feel like they're going to continue to play at the level they have. A lot of fun with this group and the level at which they're executing. And, I will say they do appear to be very focused and locked in and ready to take on the Tigers. They've come through an incredible month that I thought was going to be very challenging, and it was. But they exceeded my expectations for what that month would look like production-wise, and have put themselves right there in the thick of the national championship hunt once again, which obviously means that you've been in the mix for the SEC championship as well. So fun to see, and hopeful that will continue on this week.
Chris, I feel like in the preseason we talked all about Alabama's depth on this football team, both on offense and defense. Do you like the fact that we're 8 games in, and that really has been the case? There have been so many different heroes over the last few weeks.
Yeah, no question. Look, we know that one of the reasons Bama didn't play well and win, frankly, against Florida State is they were missing 2 big pieces of the puzzle in TK and Jam. Not that those guys are the only reason this team is better and the only reason this team is winning, but those were 2 glaring absences in that particular game against FSU. The growth and development of other guys with and around them, in addition to their continued play at a very high level, is the reason this squad is one of the favorites to win the whole thing now. And we just got to keep everybody upright and we'll be fine. But it's really exciting to see how they've grown across the board. I think defensively, guys like Yanze Pierre, coming in and becoming what he has for this team. We knew Jeremy Bernard was good, but to me, there's not a more valuable and better player in the country. And obviously Ty being elite. Ty's gone from people wondering if he could be the guy throughout the course of the year at that position to now maybe being the first quarterback taken in the draft when the season ends. So incredible growth and development, but there are tons of other stories very, very similar to those. But those are just a few examples of why this team's in the position they're in.
Well, we know we can't wait for Saturday, Alabama against LSU. Also tomorrow, back at it for Hey Coach. I look forward to being back at Baumhower's. Coach DeBoer will be there in attendance. Always a good time to get us ready for the week.
Yeah, absolutely. We get a chance to talk about one of the other sports on campus. And as you and I are visiting, I'm not exactly sure who that's going to be there with us, but we do get a chance to cover the athletic department as a whole, but also obviously the hour with Coach DeBoer is something we really enjoy, and he'll bring a student athlete with him. And that's always, that's been one of the really neat things, as you and I have discussed, not just with his coaching staff, but with the NIL era where we're given an opportunity to get to know some of these incredible young men and women who represent the Crimson Tide, and you get to know them on a personal level. And man, they're such cool kids and great representatives of the program, the brand, the name, and the school that we care about so much.
Well, we look forward to it. Chris, all the best. Thank you for the time you've given us here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Give an extra tip to your Uber driver because great connection throughout the entire show. Very smooth. We really appreciate it. And we can't wait to see you in person coming up Saturday. Roll Tide.
And I've held off on partaking in the snacks that were provided as well. So that was good also. Appreciate you, buddy. Roll Tide.
This isn't just a race, it's the race. 500 miles of glory, a million memories, one place. That's what we love about the Daytona 500. You gotta see it to believe it. Secure your experience now at Daytona500.com.
Well, we talked a lot of basketball with Chris. He and Brian Passing and Tom Stipe starting another year together working on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. And they have a new broadcast perch that you may have seen last night and you'll see here coming up in these Courtside Cam highlights. Still calling it the Courtside Cam as Chris and Brian always deliver excitement and energy as the Courtside Cam was streaming live on all of our CTSN social media platforms. Here's a look back at some of the highlights from last night's win for Alabama men's basketball, starting the season off on a winning note against North Dakota.
Gugash Natsvitsvili will be jumping center for North Dakota. And, of course, Taylor Bowen wins the tap, gets a feed inside from LeBaron Philon and lays it in. And Taylor Bowen, we're going to call him TB squared, comes Bama the other way. Philon stepping through, laying it up with a left hand, got it to go, and he is fouled. Philon trying to answer, does, wide open to the bank. First three from LeBaron Philon. Drives, dishes, Philon, spot up three, and boy, is he red hot to start this one. Bama works it and then back out to the perimeter. An open three and knocking it down is Amari Allen. Near side Allen around to the top of the arc. Philon, LeBaron giving it off into the corner. Sherrill steps back, three, knocks it home. LeBaron starts the break himself, gives it off to Williamson. Noah, nice drive to the lane, and Bama may have lost Grant Nelson, but they got another 7-footer who's pretty athletic in the open floor.
Yeah, what a play by Noah Williamson.
Hawks lose the handle, stolen away. Allen, he flips it ahead. Jemison, nice catch in traffic, got fouled, but laid it in anyway. London Jemison able to get the bucket to go on the assist from Amari Allen, and the Crimson Tide leads it now by 24.
I think it was Amari Allen with another steal. Throws it ahead to fellow freshman London Jemison, and well, you can see why those around the Alabama basketball program are so excited about this freshman class. You mentioned the three. All of them give you a little something different, and all playing well here tonight in their college debut.
Williamson hands it off to Millett. Catch and shoot on the three, got it to go, and Alabama with an 81-55 advantage after another banked first three-pointer. As the free throw is missed and the rebound's controlled by the Crimson Tide. Bama hurries the other way, going in and throwing it down up from the baseline was the Tide's Davion Hannah.
And that should have been an and one. Took a lot of contact. The athleticism by the freshman goes up high, the contact, and throws it down.
And Onijika throws it home and gets his first points, and he gets a hug from Houston Millett as he did so. Pretty cool right there. And we will see a freshman from Newside, Alabama, and Horseshoe Bend High School. Clark James getting in the game after the free throw attempt from Houston Millett. He knocks it down. Jack Fagan from Greenville, South Carolina, and Christchurch Episcopal School is in.
And these guys came from the second row. They weren't even on the bench.
Jacob Martin, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and IMG Academy coming in for the Crimson Tide as Millett knocks down the free throw, and James will indeed. The Horseshoe Bend High School product into the game for Alabama. Dribble out the clock as the final seconds tick off, and the first version of Rammer Jammer of the year does indeed strike up. .62 your final. Alabama a winner over North Dakota.
Hey, I'm Deshaun Jones, and you're watching Crimson Drive by NASCAR.
Fun time with Chris and Brian on the call. We will have the Courtside cam up and running as well over the next few weeks for both Alabama men's and women's basketball. Just always stay right here to the Crimson Tide Sports Network for the very latest on when we have that camera up and running inside Coleman Coliseum. It's time to take a look at our upcoming schedule. A very busy week of Alabama athletics are ahead. We'll see what's coming up next here on the network. Tomorrow night, Chris Stewart will be at Baumhauer's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa for Hey Coach and the Kalen DeBoer Show. 6 p.m. will be the start time for that program. And of course, you can catch that on our full radio network plus Alabama Athletics social media platforms. Thursday, we'll be back with another edition of Crimson Drive driven by NASCAR at 2 o'clock, previewing the LSU game. Plus, we'll have women's basketball that night, Alabama against McNeese State, all across the network. Then Saturday, a doubleheader, men's basketball and football, starting with men's basketball in New York City against St. John's at 11 a.m. Our airtime will be 10 a.m. for that ball game. And then 3:30, the airtime on stage at Vector Security Champions Lane for Alabama football against LSU. That kickoff at 6:30. Sunday, a new edition of the Kalen DeBoer television show to our TV affiliates all across the state and available online, rolltide.com. Then Monday, we'll have Crimson Tide Rewind at 6 p.m. looking back at the LSU game, plus women's basketball will be in action at the same time against Alcorn State. For the very latest, make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms at UA_CTSN. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead, hit subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss anything from the Crimson Tide Sports Network. That's going to wrap up this Tuesday edition of Crimson Drive driven by NASCAR. Huge thank you to our guest, Daniel Hill from the Alabama football team. As a preview, we will be joined by Red Morgan coming up for Thursday's show, so we look forward to that conversation. Appreciate the time as well of Chris Stewart, and we appreciate Ethan Carabin putting this entire show together and producing our Courtside cam for basketball last night for both men and women's basketball. Appreciate Ethan and all of his hard work. This is Roger Hoover. Hopefully I have a voice back by Thursday. We'll see you then. Roll Tide, everyone.